Hello and welcome to my review of David Fincher's new highly anticipated movie, The Social Network, starring Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield, and Justin Timberlake. This movie is an exaggerated account of the story of Facebook, which of course is the hugely popular social networking website. It centers on Mark Zuckerberg, played by Jesse Eisenberg, who's this eccentric genius who comes up with this idea for Facebook, and there's all these people, and it ends up going into a web of lies and betrayal as I don't really want to spoil anything, but he gets sued by a couple people for stealing ideas and betrayal, but I don't really want to reveal who those people are, but it's just the story of how Facebook really led to a bunch of lies, betrayal, and lawsuits. I've been really looking forward to this movie. First off, David Fincher, who I've seen a couple movies of his. I haven't seen any of his great movies like Fight Club or Seven, but I've seen Zodiac and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and I really enjoyed both of those, especially Benjamin Button. So I was looking forward to this, and the reviews for this movie were astonishing. So I was expecting a movie that was amazing. And I have to say, this is probably as good as a movie about Facebook can possibly be. However, while this movie is very, very good, it's not the best movie of the year like some critics have been telling you. Let me start out by talking about the strongest aspect of that movie, and that is Jesse Eisenberg. This guy has been a pretty good actor for a little while now. He's kind of gotten a reputation for sort of acting like Michael Cera, but I've always thought he was kind of better than Michael Cera. In this movie, not only does he completely transcend that image of being that Michael Cera, but he creates an astonishing performance of this eccentric genius. My favorite thing about his character is that he knows he's 20 steps ahead of everybody else in the room, and he'll tell you that like right to your face. The way Eisenberg just so perfectly captures just the speech patterns of this genius, and just the way he talks so fast because he just knows he's ahead of everybody, and if you don't understand him, that's too bad. The movie is completely 100% the Jesse Eisenberg show. I think he should probably get a Best Actor nomination for this movie. There are a few other pretty good performances in here, like Justin Timberlake, who kind of plays himself, but he's very good at it. And there's also the biggest surprise, who doesn't have a lot of scenes, but she does a pretty good job, who's Rooney Mara. She was in Nightmare on Elm Street a little while back, and she was the most bland, boring actress I've ever seen. But in this movie, she actually shows a bit of personality, and I'd maybe like to see her in a couple more movies. The disappointment here is Andrew Garfield, who, as some of you may know, is going to be the new Peter Parker. I don't buy this guy at all. He's just your typical bland I hate to just stereotype like this, but it was so obvious that he's a British guy trying to do a New York accent. Just the cadences were just so obvious. It's just, yo, we gotta do this. We gotta do this now. But beyond that, his character was bland, he was uninteresting, and I'm really dreading the new Spider-Man movie now because I just don't think he has the personality to carry it. If anything, make Jesse Eisenberg the new Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a smartass anyway, so that would be perfect. This movie is directed by David Fincher and written by Aaron Sorkin, and the writing in this movie, as many people have said, is fantastic. The dialogue is great, very snappy, very funny. And David Fincher does a pretty good job directing. This is not really a director's type movie. There's not a lot of crazy shots, but whatever you do, it just looks like a very well-made professional movie. Like there's just a certain air of professionalism to it that David Fincher can bring. But I think Aaron Sorkin is the main force behind why this movie flows so well. There are several scenes in this movie where almost every line of dialogue is just a great punchline. Beyond that, it's a pretty interesting story of lies and betrayal. I like how it kind of ties into today's society. It doesn't really have the emotional impact for me that it seems to have with other critics for some reason. They're like, oh, this movie boldly defines the entire decade. I don't think it goes that far. I think it's a solid story, but it's not by any means the movie of the decade or anything. But overall, The Social Network is an extremely solid film that's one of the better movies of the year, and I definitely think you should go check it out. It may not be... I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. I think that in the coming months, there's going to be a lot of movies, and there's going to be a few that I think may be better. But this is one of the better movies of the year. This is definitely the first good movie of Oscar season, and I highly recommend it. I'd give it 3.5 stars out of 4. Not perfect, but a very good start to Oscar season.